everyone, and welcome back to Cyber Whale. I hope you guys are doing well and everything is going smooth in your lives. And I also hope that I didn't get much late in posting this video on my YouTube channel. I tried that I would be able to be fast in posting and I would be able to catch up with you again soon. So basically, guys, this video is going to be about there is one playlist in our YouTube channel that is basically about vulnerability discussion. And if you guys remember, in that playlist we have one vulnerability already discussed in a theoretical manner. That means we have already covered the theoretical part of that video, which is, you can call it, the information disclosure vulnerability. So today's video I will be about the practical part of that, like how you can do it and how you can basically perform it in real world scenarios or real time situations. And guys, before we proceed, I would say this video is only and only about educational purposes, and there are no way that I'm promoting any malicious intent. So please do it for the educational purpose only. Don't use it for malicious intents or don't try to do it for wrongdoings. This is my humble request to all of you. So as we now know that what we are going to do today, so I'm going to show you one way of doing this with the help of one of the Portswigger Lab Academy labs, you can say, because there are several ways that we can do it, and there are several ways which we can use to perform this vulnerability and to exploit this vulnerability. But one of the way that we are going to discuss is from the Portswigger Lab Academy. You can see that. So let's go ahead, let's move on, and let's see where is it. I don't know where my port is. Yeah, here it is, all labs, you can see. Yeah, I have already opened up the information disclosure. So you can see there is this information disclosure in error message. So this is the lab that we are going to cover up today. And I'll tell you a little more extra about it if I could. Just let's wait for it. So yeah, here what does this say? It says that we have to, this lab's verbose error message reveals that it is using a vulnerable version of a third party framework. So that means, guys, you understand that there is some sort of third party framework which is being used by that website, or you can say an organization whose website we are going to test on for this lab. Basically it is, obviously we know that Portswigger have its own lab, so it's obviously related to that only. But yeah, in such a situation, let's create a scenario in our brain so that we can understand it a little bit. By that situation, it has said that this lab's verbose error message means the messages that pops up when there is some sort of error coming. Like if we do some random if we put some random scripts or random something, it should usually give us some error like 404 not found, 500 internal server error, something like that. So in that verbose error message, it is revealing a version which is also vulnerable. So basically that means there is a third party framework. Number one thing that we have to look for. Number two thing, that's that version that it is using is vulnerable. Again, the third thing that it is mentioning is that the error message is revealing that thing. So that means we have to try to play with some of the things. We can try to manipulate something. So let's try to find out the version number of this framework and let's try to solve it. So let's just do it. Let's access the lab and let's see what comes up in front of us so that we can perform it in such a manner. I would use it on my Firefox because I prefer doing it there only. So I would show you guys. And one more thing, if we would be, yeah, we got it. We got it. Let's just take it to our Firefox and solve it there. Mm, yeah, here it is. Guys, just ignore whatsoever is open because there are so many things that are open and doesn't even make sense in some of the cases. I have just been doing some random stuff these days, so just ignore. Yeah, here we go with the lab, and we would try to check each and every feature of this website, that how we could actually perform it. How, okay, like the Bobsuit proxy is on, so let's just try to close it for once. Let's disable it and then try to do it again. Reload the page. Let's just do it. I am quite curious about doing all of these. I believe you guys might be also, obviously. So You can see, guys, this is a e-commerce platform, sort of, you can say it. This is a e-commerce platform what we are trying to do. That is baby minding shoes, sick pack beer, belt, hydrated crackers, the splash and stuff like that. So these are all the products that are available on this. So let's try to open one of the, you can call it this way, one of the product ID, one of the product, you can call it. Let's try to open any one. Let's try to open inflatable dart boots. Let's do it so that we can see. Okay, is there anything? Mm-hmm. Let's try to look for the URL itself. Okay, so guys, if you are able to see there is one thing mentioned in the URL itself. As soon as we did it, there is a product ID equals to 5, which means what if I put something random in place of 5? What will it return? Like instead of a number itself, because yeah, if there is a product ID, so if I would mention any other ID, might be possible chances that it would mention other product in front of me. But what if I put random inputs, random, you can say, words, and so what will I get in return? Like star 1 2 3 4, instead of 1 2 3 4 5, what if I put star ABC, something like that? So what basically do you think should be the answer, should be the error that should be coming, instead of like, instead of like a 500, instead of just a normal thing, it should be giving us something as an internal server error, because we are trying to glitch with the product ID's number or product ID input validation. So it is happening, right? So what if I change from 5 to, and I change it to ABC, let's just take it randomly, no, and enter. So it should be giving us 500. Okay, so it's not giving us 500 internal server actually. So you can see internal server error is there, but it didn't give us 500 internal server error. It, instead of it, it gave us information. It gave us information which should not be shown on this particular page. And as soon as you can see there is one thing also mentioned as Apache Struts 2, which have given the version 2.3.31. So this is basically something, guys, we got a version, but we don't know whether it is vulnerable or not. Might be where we have to look for something else. Might be there, this third party framework is actually correct. Might be the third party server that we are looking for is at some other place. Could be, right? So what do? We would check it out, guys. In the real world scenario, we do it in such a manner. We would copy this, we would try to find exploit available for this particular, you can say, vulnerable version, if it is vulnerable or not, if it is actually the thing that we have to find it. So this is the one way of doing it. Let's just try to first of all check and verify whether even if it is vulnerable or not. What if we fall in the trap and it is not a vulnerable version, right? So I would just go over here, type in the same version of third party framework of Apache that we have seen over here onto the platform, and then you just mention either the exploit or you can say the vulnerabilities, right? Vulnerabilities, or you can say the exploits or exploit, you can mention anything, no? So just enter, and then you will be able to see if it is actually a vulnerable version or if it is an older version. AI is also propping up. So it states that Apache Struts 2 version 2.3.31 and all other versions is primarily notorious for critical remote code execution vulnerability. That means it have a known CVE on this particular version, which means it is vulnerable for sure. And we have found a very critical vulnerability, that is information disclosure, in such a manner, because it could exploit and let the attacker take what, guys, take remote code access because of the execution of this vulnerability. And you can see the exploit is available over here. If you would click on it, you would be able to see how you can take did not connect. Okay, I might be using the Wi-Fi of some other place, that's why it's not showing me, guys. So just cop up with me for that case. It is not showing me because I'm using Wi-Fi for of an organization right now. So That is a different way, but yeah, you could see it, you could see the vulnerability, you can download that exploit, try to perform it. But yeah, I would repeat it again, guys, it is especially for the educational purposes, no other means. If you are doing it responsibly, then yeah, you can go ahead and responsibly report it if you find it in a real life, in a bug bounty programs or something like that. But don't do it for random stuff, and don't do it for wrongdoings, absolutely not at all in favor of it. So that's how basically you get to know that this is a vulnerable version and this have an exploit available for this, you can see, and you can get to have an idea about it. So that's how things work in a situation of it, guys. You can see the vulnerability type, remote code execution via Jakarta multi-part parser, cause of it, improper handling of HTTP headers. This is, you can see over here, content disposition and everything. We did it via the URL itself, guys. But there comes the situation where you can also try to do it using Burp Suite. But the easiest way I have shown you, so you can do it this way as well. But yeah, what if it come, you can capture a post request of this particular request, and you will get a product id equals to 1. You can send it to repeater, and after sending it to repeater, you can try to manipulate, and you will be when you will send that request again to the repeater itself, you will be able to see the version of this in where, in the response section of the repeater. So that's how things work, guys, and I believe that you guys understood how basically information disclosure can be harmful and can be changed to a higher vulnerability or a critical vulnerability. So now what we will do to solve this lab, we will copy this up version, we would go back, and we would just go back to our submit solution option, we would put this version in here, and then we will be done with the lab and your lab will be solved. So congratulations, guys, you have solved the lab and you have got an understanding how basically information disclosure can be done in error messages, and how could it take place in such a manner. If you would say that I shall show you the same lab to do it via the Burp Suite as well, with the help of the Burp Suite, then please drop it in the comment section. I would come again with the same video with the same lab, but with the help of Burp Suite, so that you guys can understand the working of it with the help of Burp Suite as well. And if you like the videos, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends as much as you can, and colleagues, so that they can also get a benefit out of it. And also hit the like button so that I can keep coming up with the more and more videos, and I would be feeling motivated that yes, my audience, my family is loving this, and I would definitely come up with more such videos, more such stuff. So I believe that this made your day, this made you understand about the information disclosure vulnerability in error messages. So I believe you liked it. So so till the time, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Till the time, take care, have a good day, and see you in the upcoming videos, and enjoy the learning part. Happy learning, guys.